And now we are. Woo! Let's get in the frame there. Get real close. Get real close. My friends, I am here with my man, Steven Leconte, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, we know each other for a long time.
A long time.
And you know what? We were here, and I said, you know what? Let's go live. Let's have a little conversation. In fact, the conversation we were just having should have been on the show.
It was great. It was a great conversation.
But you guys are really gonna enjoy it. We're so look, we're gonna get into a few things. I want to get into business. I want to get into branding and marketing.
Nice.
I want to get into real estate. I want to get into family balance, and I think our friends will get a lot of value here. Now, Steven.
Yes, sir.
Tell me.
Yes.
Let's go back. Let's go
Let's
back.
go.
Let's go back. So tell me your share with us your journey. That's basically what I want to know.
My journey. What do you want to know?
Well, first of all, let's talk about where you are right now. Real estate, entrepreneur, marketing guru, family man, husband, dad,
yes,
son.
yes. All these things.
Yeah.
No, it's great. Thank you for having me. By the way, I love your channel. I'm on the channel all the time. I was on it like just before I came here.
Yeah. We were talking about fourth quarter.
Yeah, we're talking about fourth quarter. We're in October as you know this is being filmed, and it's almost the end of the year, and we're definitely pushing to achieve some
3 months,
some goals, some extra goals, push to the finish line, and things are going well. So we're really happy. We really feel fortunate to be here, to be doing what we're doing, and to be in this era. It's really special.
So I want to get into your story. We have some people on the live here. So guys, feel free to ask questions. Feel free to chime in at any time.
Let's do it.
I want to know your story, kind of how where did you grow up? You grew up in Montreal.
Yeah.
How was that? Where did you grow up?
Sure.
How was the mindset?
That's great.
And because we talked about where you are now, and maybe we can talk a little bit about that after.
Let's get to it.
Yeah, but how did you grow up?
So I grew up in Montreal, born and raised in Montreal. Really a humble beginnings. We grew up in a little neighborhood called Saint Leonard. We used to call it Brooklyn because it was so like all over the place. Let's call it like that. Then like people give it that little name Brooklyn, and it was just like in the middle of a neighborhood around like wealth, but this particular area was really poor. So this is where I grew up. My mom didn't want me to go out because it was dangerous, so we were often inside of the house looking out at people through the window, because the bigger guys, the taller guys weren't like the safest people to be around. Let's just say it like that. So yeah, grew up there. Went to school, played basketball. Loved basketball. Basketball really helped me out. I played sport.
What did basketball do for you?
Basketball helped me get organized. It helped me learn how to like play with other people, like be in a team, be in a structure.
Yeah.
We had a coach.
Discipline.
Pride. Like you have to dress up a certain way. You have to put a uniform. We represented the school. We were in a really good school for sports. And then we went out, represented the school, did tournaments, worked together as a team, and it really taught me a lot, which I still use right now in my life. Some of the aspect of basketball and like teamwork, right? Like we still use a lot of these things that I've learned.
And it's very much a team sport. Like there's people that stand out, but people forget about those supporting roles in basketball, right? And if you can, like someone like Michael Jordan obviously could never be Michael Jordan without the supporting roles.
Of course.
And I think that the game itself teaches you that, and then so you could bring that to business, real estate, whatever it is that you want to do,
Yeah, like
family.
for sure.
Yeah.
Like I was just sharing with one of my friend the other day that like I was in a situation not too long ago, and she felt like, how come you don't feel defeated? Like that just happened in the world of business, and you lost this deal and whatever, and like how come
Mhm.
you're not down? And I'm like, man, like the fourth quarter, like there's still time on the clock.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
we're gonna get this done like by any means necessary.
yeah.
So and that's something that I learned through basketball. There's still time on the clock. You can still make a couple play, and then you can position yourself to be at the, like, do a shot with like
Mhm.
1 second left, and then still win the game. So
Yeah, and
um
that's what it is. Like a lot of people, I think there's this false sense of time that people think that they have,
mhm,
right? So, and I've talked about this on this channel so many times. Um, when people make New Year's resolutions, it's it's often there is excitement,
yeah,
and that you need that excitement. There is the dreaming part of it. It's like, oh, I want to achieve this thing this next year, or I want to take on this challenge or whatnot. But because there's the aspect of having the year, most people take their time,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
It's just like if you were going to start a race today, and if you're going to run a marathon, when you start that marathon, you're gonna trot a little bit.
yeah, yeah,
You're not gonna give it all, because you know what, you have to save yourself for the entire race,
for
for the
sure.
entire marathon. If you're running a sprint, you're gonna go,
Yeah,
right?
there's no time to waste.
And so the idea of resolutions is a good idea, but the aspect of you have this false sense of time, you have this year to complete it.
Mhm,
This is what this is why most people fail.
yeah,
And so I love the idea of compressing time,
mhm,
like creating a sense of urgency.
yeah,
And so just like basketball, we go quarter
quarter by quarter.
quarter by quarter, second by second.
Yeah,
We got these. You get 10 seconds on the clock.
play by
There's
play.
there's still there, and you got to play. You got to give it all for that one, that one play. And if people played that way, played the game of life,
That's exactly it.
there'd be more people would accomplish things,
Yeah,
right?
like I that's how I live my life. To be honest, I
Mhm.
look at it as a game. I
Mhm.
gamify it,
Mhm.
and I give myself little rewards along the way, where you accomplish this, you do this, right? Like every little play makes a difference, and then towards the end of it, you can see, oh my gosh, like we did 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 plays, and then together it makes like you win a game, you lose a game, and
Mhm.
then you position yourself so that when a championship comes in, or like adversity comes in, like you've already done the work,
Yeah.
so that you're in a position where you can really win. And then you have a team,
Mhm.
right? So you have a team, you have people that you can rely on. It's really like sports is amazing, I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
for learning some of these things when you apply them.
So going back, Montreal in the hood,
Mm-hmm.
playing basketball,
Yeah.
right? And so at that point in time, what did you see? Could you see 20 years? Like, how did
No.
you see your life unfolding?
No, it's really sad, but like growing where I grew up, people weren't really making it.
Mhm.
There was not a lot of expectation. Like people didn't really expect that we would do much,
Mhm.
right? And then you kind of identify with that, where
Mhm.
like if nobody's expecting that you'll do anything,
Yeah.
you don't do much.
Yeah.
So the role models weren't like too far ahead, right?
Mhm.
So I didn't have a lot of expectations. Some people weren't even making it in life, period,
Yeah.
meaning that they wouldn't make it out of life. They
Mhm.
would like there was a ceiling to your life expectancy,
Mhm.
right? So and it's crazy because that's far. That's a long time ago, but that's not that long ago. So
I'm with you.
yeah.
I mean, when I grew up, and I remember being in high school, and you would have these people come in and do these speeches. I can do it. I can do it. They didn't look like me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I always felt there was a disconnect. And I'm like, well, yeah, he can do it, but I can't do it. You
Hmm.
know. And I remember having such low confidence and belief in myself. You know, because I didn't know what was available. I didn't. There was no examples. And we are talking about this before we turned on the camera. The 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 impact that we're having on other people by simply doing,
Yeah.
by simply
Taking action.
taking action, by simply, executing,
Hmm.
right, and moving forward. That is a ripple effect. Like, we've created a ripple effect that people around us, like, they're like, whoa, like, how how can I do that? And
Yeah.
they start asking questions, and then they start doing it for themselves. And it's like the ripple effect of success.
Exactly.
And success is contagious, as you know.
Hmm.
And you just have to believe that you can do it. And if once you see someone do it, and it's like, it just inspires
You
you
know,
to do it.
when you're in it, like you're in a certain position, and then you don't, you could dream. Like
Mhm,
sometimes we look at someone and we feel like, oh wow, they've done it, but it doesn't mean I can do it. Like
mhm.
this is crazy. Like how am I gonna get to that? Like
Mhm, mhm,
doesn't make sense.
mhm,
But then when you start seeing people that look like you, that
mhm,
talks like you, that you can identify some of their stories, or similar, or they know some people that you know,
mhm,
like it gives you a window,
mhm,
because people need access.
mhm.
They need to believe it. They need to be able to see something, and then once you start seeing other people do things that you're aspired to do, and then you can kind of touch it.
Yeah.
You can kind of like, oh, this is real.
Mhm,
Like
mhm, mhm.
it really changes things. It really changes things for real.
So you're 17 years old, and you're not you're thinking, like, I'm probably gonna just go to school and get a job.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. 17 years old, 17,
And at that
18.
point, that's probably success.
Yeah, like
Like, if you can just stay in school.
if you could just stay in school, graduate, get a job somewhere, like a decent job, a career, like you've made, like you've done a lot more than a lot of people in our neighborhood, right?
Mhm, mhm,
If you can survive, not get caught up in like violence,
mhm,
drugs, like go to jail, stuff like that, because poverty
mhm,
um makes it easier to get
mhm.
into trouble,
Yeah.
because you don't have anything.
Well, I'll speak from my experience. I remember. So we're immigrants. We came
Hmm.
here as immigrants. Our families back home. We leave our families back home. You come here, and then you make friends with other people like you that have your similar experience,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like attracts like.
Hmm.
Okay. And then growing up, you're like, I would die for you, man. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Because this now becomes your
Like
family.
literally.
Yeah, this becomes your family. And you know, no one in our circles was talking about, like, starting businesses. And and so it's hard to break out.
So true. So true.
This is what I've discovered. Like, every time I leveled up, I had to say goodbye to certain people,
I
a
know what you
certain
mean.
life,
I know what you
and
mean.
then move forward.
I had to do the same. I know exactly what you mean. Like, unfortunately, you can't bring everyone with you.
Mhm.
When you're leveling up, some people don't really understand like what you're doing anymore, and you start having conversations with them that it doesn't really make sense. Like, or you're around them and you talk to them about things, and you see that they're still, and there's
Yeah,
nothing wrong
yeah,
with that. Like
yeah.
some people don't want to grow, and
But
they're comfortable.
it's the crab bucket idea, right? So if you have a crab bucket and you have all the crabs in a bucket, they can
It pulls
easily
you
get
back,
out. But everyone is pulling
pulling
each
you
other
for
down, right?
sure.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's interesting that the biggest goal would be just getting
A job.
educated and getting a job,
Yeah.
getting the job.
Yeah.
So now you got that. You did it.
I did it.
You
Got
know,
a little job.
got a little
Get a little
job, just over
job.
broke.
Exactly. You know.
So
And
just like my mom told me, that's what my mom said to me. Like, all you can do here is get an education. That's just like, that's the max. And if you get a PhD, you're on top of the world.
yeah. No, like I know what you mean. Like my first little
Hey, we
job.
got a lot of people here. Let me see if there's some questions. So when you're buying $5 to $10 million, okay, this guy's dropping. I don't even know what he's saying. $10 million. We'll read it later. 35% down. So he's got a real
Okay.
estate
Okay.
question. So
Some question. Good.
We'll get to the real estate. This is going to be
That's
a
cool.
nice
That's great.
conversation.
Yeah.
But we got a lot of people on here, and you got this job. You got a family. Okay. Um, and I remember, I'm saying this from my memory because I remember we met around that time.
Yeah.
Right. Like we met. It was 2010.
Yeah.
When did you get married?
2012.
So just on the other side here,
my wife was over there. I wasn't expecting that question. I wasn't prepared for that. I was like, man, like,
sorry.
yeah. But like the job, it was a job. Then I actually moved from Montreal to come to Ottawa because I wanted to create a space between me and my surrounding. I had a feeling, a really strong feeling, that if I had stayed over there, my life would be a lot, like, really different from what it is right now.
And I don't want to cut you off, but it's a really good point. People, I really want people to get get a lot of this, because when you make a transition, when you make a change, there's going to be elements of you who you were before that are going to show up and try to pull you back.
Yeah.
For example, if someone, let's just make it any example. If someone is overweight, they've created an environment that supports them being overweight, meaning the people around them maybe tend to overeat, whatever it is. The second that person wants to go to the gym, go on a diet, the there's going to be some residue of people that are going to try to pull them back, because misery loves company.
For sure.
And it's the way I describe it is like the changing of the seasons. When you go into spring, there's always some elements of winter in spring.
Yeah.
And when you go into summer, there's always going to be the days of some days that are similar to spring and summer.
Yeah.
And when you go from summer back to fall, like today, right? We're in fall and it's hot. There's some elements of summer until you make a full transition into a new season of your life.
That's a great analogy.
And so, you're making this move from Montreal to here. You were making a transition in your life, and the reason I can resonate with what you're saying is because that was my life, right? Like, I had elements where people are trying to pull me back.
Oh yeah. I know what you mean.
So now you're here in Montreal. I just didn't want to. Sorry, in Ottawa, but I didn't want people to miss that. And I know we had some questions here. We'll get to some of the questions. We got a lot of people on here. So you're going from Montreal to Ottawa.
From Montreal to Ottawa. Now I want to get an education, because in Montreal I didn't have an education. And what I've learned when I was younger is that you have to have an education. You have to get some kind of a paper, a diploma, something that says that you're good at something. So I go to school, get my diploma, work really hard at it, because I never learned how to learn. I like there's not a lot of people in my surrounding that I graduated from college or university. So I'm by myself here trying to figure this out, and it's hard. It's hard, man. Like the teachers they don't like they don't like we don't agree together. Like I don't understand what's going on. But I pushed through it and graduate, and then I get myself a job, like a career, not a job, but a career. Working finally after my diploma, I got a career. But at the same time, the career is great. Love the work, I get to apply the things that I've learned at school, but at the same time, there's a ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's only so far that that you can go and grow
Or
in
if
a
or
job.
you gotta wait for someone to leave their position,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
may not want to leave that position
of
for a long
course,
time.
of course.
So you're gonna be sitting there waiting.
Yeah, you have to sit here like, and it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to pay your dues.
Oh, for sure. You
So
need to have that
you have to
experience. Yeah,
learn, you have to grow, you have
work in a
to
team.
work in a team, work on projects. And then you're right, like people have to leave so to create space for you to come in. Someone might be doing the same work as you, and then or the same work in the term of like you're the same position, but you're doing like so much work, and then they're just like twiddling their thumbs. But like some way somehow we have the same position, so we get the same salary. So there was some frustrations, you know, where I was like, you know what, it has to be something else. Like this is good, this is better than what I had, and this is already a lot more than I aspired to be. But there has to be some, like, it can't just be it, you know. I can't just like just it has to be, there has to be something else. So yeah, it kind of went from there. It kind of started there. That was the beginning
So
of my
so
journey in Ottawa.
so now you started this family, right? And you got your job. You're living in the suburbs, right? And what was missing at that? Because if you look at like how we grew up, that would be success, right? You would say you made it, like you
Yeah.
did it. You got the family, the kids, you got the job, the car, the garage, the like you got two TVs, one in the living room, one in the, you can watch TV in the room. Like my mom never let me watch TV in the room, so like you did it, you made it,
Yeah.
So what was missing in your life that created the wanting of more?
You know, what was missing for me was like I, I didn't feel like I had options. You know, I felt um like I was boxed in, and it's a weird feeling to have. And I don't know if you've had it before, but you look around and you say, you know what, um, this is the box, and this is the path, and like I don't know if I necessarily agree with that plan that's like laid out for me, right? Has to work with a certain amount to a certain amount of time, have to like wait until you're able to, like, you know, you have to wait until you win a position, or you get promoted to get a raise. Like some of these things, you know, I was like, man, like this is okay for me. I'm just like by myself is fine, but if you have family, kids, aging parents, and in our culture, we help out, you know,
Yeah.
the older parents and grandparents, and we want to do for other people.
Yeah.
And it was just like I just felt like that's not gonna be enough, you know. So it kind of started from that, the desire, and also the fear of like, okay, we got here, but what if something happens and then we lose it all?
Yeah.
You know, to go from, because when you don't have like you like, and then you start having, you're like, my gosh, like what happens if I lose all that stuff? And it's scary.
Well, you become handcuffed to the stuff,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
in the way. And if you look at how the society sets it up, you get your pay on the first, and then on the first, these are the bills are going to go out.
yeah.
It's almost like it's like
program.
yeah, it's like da-da-da-da. And so like the life is set up like that, which is what Robert Kiyosaki calls the rat race,
Yeah,
right? So you're in this rat race, and you're just one crisis away from losing everything,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
And so you're there, and so we met in 2012, you and your wife, 2012, and I don't know if you remember the name of the workshop.
Um, you know, it was either something about time management or goal setting.
It was called Changing Your Ways.
Okay, okay.
So you looked at that event, and like, do you remember coming?
I
But there's
remember
something
coming. I
must have
remember
said,
coming.
there's something that must have said, oh shoot, I got to change my ways.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. Like, I definitely wanted to change. I was
Hmm.
definitely on a quest, and I was definitely looking for a better way to do things.
Hmm.
Right. So I came to the event. It was a great event. I knew you from before because you had the store, and
Yeah, yeah,
like I used to come to that, and everyone like that I knew in Ottawa knew about the store and everything. But then you started to do different things,
yeah.
and
Which is
uh,
part of my transformation.
yeah, and this is great because like when you transform, like other people are witnessing it and they're like, oh wow, like this is different. Like I don't know
Yeah.
people that do workshops about changing your ways, and the guy is changing his ways.
Yeah,
So like let's go check it out.
yeah.
And it was a great workshop. I remember sitting there with my she was a girlfriend at the time, my wife now, and we sat down and we were just like, oh wow, this is really interesting. Like it gave us something to think
Hmm.
about,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Like I go to these events, like I
Yeah,
go to these networking events and whatnot, and I was looking for like just nuggets of information that I could apply in my life that could make a difference.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And it all of it combined
Hmm.
has made a difference, right?
Yeah,
Because it's like you took here, you took here, you took here, and then it's like as you're transitioning, like you start to see things, different habits.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So now let's fast forward.
Fast forward, let's do it.
Let's fast forward. Uh, there's another workshop, which is the ultimate entrepreneur workshop
Hmm.
back in 20.
End of
Yeah,
2018, I believe it was.
yeah. So something happened to you from that time, and I'm sure people have witnessed it. They're like, "What the hell happened to Steven?" You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
so we were going back. We were having that conversation earlier about the mindset,
Yeah,
and I want to go back to the mindset because the mindset was, um, I want to get out of debt.
yeah,
And you remember what I said to you?
yeah. You said it's the wrong goal.
Is the wrong goal.
Like
Yeah.
you said it's the wrong goal because if you get out of debt, like then so what? I was like, what are you talking about? So what? Like I'm free,
This guy is crazy.
I'm like this guy. Like what is this guy talking about? Like I want to get rid of that, and
Yeah,
then it'll be great.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And that was kind of what I wanted to do. Like
yeah,
I didn't really have bigger aspirations than that. It
yeah,
was just like I had made some moves and I had
mhm,
tried some things, and it got me to a position where I wasn't happy with like the way the bank account looked, and that consumed me.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
like a lot of
And it
my
could be because somebody watching this right now it could be going through that,
yeah, yeah,
and it can be heavy.
it's heavy
It could keep you up at night.
for sure, for
it,
sure.
like it's all you and your wife would you could talk about, like,
It's stressful.
they talk about why families break apart is usually because of finances,
Mhm.
right? That's the number one reason. And it's frustrating if people don't have an answer. If like those two people don't have an answer, it's like, well, you should know. What do you? Why don't you know? You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
No, for sure.
And I think there's something to be said about you and your wife, like, coming together to do this together. I have a strong belief on, when couples um, start working together and start building together, because usually what happens is either one of the, like, when somebody wants to make a change,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, and the other person, they don't, maybe they don't see it, or it's not as, they don't see why they wouldn't want to make a change because someone is comfortable. And so someone starts to go to different workshops,
Hmm.
go on YouTube videos, get some
Hmm.
content, get information. And what tends to happen, and this is my observation, right, is that people start to, like,
Get apart,
grow
go
grow
apart.
apart,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so what I like, what I've seen between you and your wife is, like, you guys are growing together.
Hmm.
And not only you growing together, you're also bringing your kids,
Yeah,
and it's like,
very important.
and it's a family, it's a family event. When sometimes I'll see some of the I saw one picture with you and your kids underwriting the property.
Yeah,
That melted my heart. You know what I
nice,
mean?
nice.
It's so important. It's so important. My kids, my two daughters, I try to include them as much as possible,
It's
so
great.
they can be around it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's no, when we get to a situation, they don't have. It's like inside of them.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And so that's something that I've seen, that your family. It's like this is a family
definitely.
business. So let's talk about the business.
Yes, sir.
Real estate. How many doors? What is it that you're doing? I know what you're doing, but
Hmm.
like, some of my people here might not know what you're doing. So.
So real estate, like what right now, what we do is that we really focus on buying multi units.
Mhm.
Our main thing, the main thing that we do is acquisition of multi units. We like the larger ones, so we usually like look for 10 units and up
Mhm.
as like a starting point. We'll look at something smaller if it's exceptional,
Mhm.
but 10 unit and up is like kind of what we look for. We invest in different markets. So we have properties in Saskatchewan, we have some in New Brunswick, in Ontario, and then we're expanding. So we're looking for properties in different markets. We're really well networked. We have a strong community.
Mhm.
Lots of people that are helping and that are growing together through your community. And we're just after growing, and not only for ourselves, but we're also interested in helping other people grow
Yeah.
and creating wealth for other people through some of what we know.
Mhm.
Is kind of like what we're after. And in terms of doors, like I don't think it's a good measure to look at how many doors. I think what's really important is that people are buying real estate, creating wealth. We've done any deals from like a 4 unit to a 36
Mhm.
unit.
Mhm.
We had a 45 unit on the contract not too long ago.
Mhm.
And we're looking to do bigger and bigger deals.
Mhm.
So that's kind of where we are now. It didn't start like that at all. It started small. It started with some condos that we ended up selling, and now we're focusing strictly on multi units.
Nice, and that's my favorite space. So
Yeah,
so
yeah,
so
yeah,
I can resonate.
yeah.
I like where this conversation is going with the family. So what is and and your wife is right here,
Hmm.
but I want to know, for people that are wanting to do this with their family,
Mm.
what are some of the things that you have intentionally done to make that happen?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of it's easy to make excuses,
Hmm.
for where you are or for what you don't have. But when you start looking at like how can I do something,
Hmm.
like doors open up.
Hmm.
And I have to be honest, when I started like having a family and I was like, oh my gosh, I should have done all this before the family, because
Hmm.
now like I have a responsibility to these kids, to my wife. Like they need my time.
Hmm.
So I felt like oh my, like I'm at a disadvantage almost because
Hmm.
I have less time available.
Hmm.
um but it's the wrong way to think about it.
Hmm.
What I've learned over time is that you can have time to do everything that's important for you in your life. And the way to do it is that instead of saying, you know what, I have to do real estate, you go play.
Hmm.
It's like, let's do real estate together. you
Yeah.
know um like record daddy, or take a picture for daddy, or come look at this, what do you think of this picture?
Hmm.
And it's crazy, like kids see things that you wouldn't believe. Like
Hmm.
you look at a picture, and you've done different deals, and you look at things in a certain way, but they see things that you wouldn't necessarily see.
Hmm.
So they bring
I,
up
I love
it,
bringing some like a younger person's opinion,
yeah,
to see,
yeah.
it's like they're looking at
It's,
something from a
they look
different perspective.
they definitely look at it from a different perspective. And then your partner too, like um and then sometimes maybe you do more learning, or you have a coach or something like that, and you feel like, you know what, like I know a little bit more. But like at the end of the day, like someone's opinion that knows you and know what you're after and what you're trying to do for the family will be able to bring a perspective
Mm-hmm.
that maybe you didn't think about.
Mm-hmm.
So I value my wife's opinion and her contribution, and we're doing it together. We're talking about real estate all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a day that goes by that we don't talk about real estate because it's part of our life. So our kids see it.
Well,
Like,
I was saying before, the family that
yeah,
invests together stays together.
yeah. I thought it was the family
It
that
prays
prays
together.
together, stays
Both. You got to
together.
pray and
But
invest.
imagine if you pray and invest at
Yeah,
the same
yeah,
time,
yeah.
hey, life is great.
So
Yeah.
you were saying about your young ones.
Yeah, so the young ones, they participate, they do things. At the same time, we use it as an opportunity to check on their skills. So
Mhm. Oh,
like,
that's a really good point.
yeah, if you're looking at a financial statement, for example, and then you have a 5-year old, you can ask them like, what are these numbers, right?
Mhm.
So that's eight, daddy. That's seven. That's
Mhm.
so at the same like so we're doing their homework at the same time we're looking at real estate, and then like everything gets done. So you don't
Mhm.
have to do homework here, real estate here, couple stuff here. Um, it's just like all done. Like you multiply
Mhm.
like the you do multiple things
Mhm.
at the same time,
Yeah.
so it becomes really powerful. Like my youngest kid now, he's like 3 months, and
Mhm.
he had a meeting with a banker. Like he
Mm.
was on camera with with a banker. We
Mhm.
had a set up thing.
Mhm.
He's there listening to these conversations that are happening around him, around real estate. My two older kids, 5 and 8,
Mhm.
they know so much about real estate. They could probably do like a small little workshop for like other little kids
Nice.
to talk about the difference between tenants, landlords, owners, and then some other things, because
Cool.
they're just around it so much. They
Yeah.
hear it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not like, oh, I have a call, like you guys disappear, like I have to, like it's just like we're here, like
Yeah.
I'm gonna have the call and I'm gonna do it, and then
Yeah.
they get to hear it. And then sometimes they ask questions after the calls, and after like they see pictures, they see documents, they see pamphlets, they see investment packages
Mhm.
just laying around, and they look at the picture, they ask questions, and I hope it's gonna have an impact on them.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's gonna have an impact
Yeah.
on them somehow, because they have access.
Mhm.
They've talked to owners, they've talked to they've been around properties, they've waited in cars,
Mhm.
they've seen walkthrough of buildings,
Mhm.
and like they know about units, they know a lot, and you never know what they're picking up
What I like
and the
about
impact it's gonna have on them.
kids is they're limitless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I did this exercise with my daughter, my oldest daughter when she was young.
Hmm.
So, or no, sorry, it was my youngest daughter. I was on I was on so she was distracted like doing something, and then I was on online, and then like, come look at this, and we were looking at jets.
Hmm.
Okay, so you see the transformation. So I'm like, okay, I have all these planes here, you know, and I'm like, so we're planning on buying a plane.
Hmm.
She's like, no way.
Hmm.
You're not gonna buy a plane. I'm like, yeah, we're buying a plane, right? I just need help. Like, I need the interior. Like, I want to know what color, what
Oh,
kind of plane.
wow, that's cool.
And then she's like, no, you're not buying a plane. I'm like, look, I have the website right here. We're gonna look. We're looking for a plane,
Hmm.
and and then she starts looking, and it's almost like the belief starts to happen. So then there, hold on, there's something in my eye here. Then there's the buy-in,
Yeah.
right? There's, first of all, there's the doubt, like, he's playing with me.
Hmm.
But then she sees the website, and then you can choose the colors of the interior of the plane. So you can have beige, black leather, all this stuff. And then you see the complete buy-in, and then now is the now she can design, right?
Hmm.
She's like, okay, but what about this? No, change this. Okay, we're gonna take the Gulf Stream, and it was just like this whole, it was like we spent like an hour
Hmm.
like designing and looking at planes,
That's
and
great.
in her mind
You're buying a
it was,
plane.
we're buying a
Yeah.
plane, you know what I mean?
But you have to buy a plane now.
What's that?
You have to buy a plane
Well,
now.
that's always in the works. But what I'm saying is, it's like I love a child's innocence, and I
Mhm.
love their how quickly they can shift a belief, like
Yes.
how you can mold a belief of a child, starting from like where they have no
It's
belief
crazy that you're
to
saying that.
like this is like we can do this,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Like our kids, like my wife and I were touring. Like we like one of the things we like to do is like just tour around neighborhoods. We're interested in real estate, so we're always like looking at like what's happening around
Hmm.
us. And then there was a new area that was
Hmm.
being built, and
Hmm.
then we just said, you know what, let's just on the way home, let's just stop by and look at the houses. And then the kids were at the back, and we're talking to them about the houses. We're at the front. We're like looking at the houses and driving. And then we start like talking to them about these places. Hey, look, like this is a house. This is they're gonna put the garage here and everything. And then we're just questioning them like, would you like to have a house one day, or would you like to? And then my son said, it's Jaden, like, and he's 5 year old at this point, and he said, I want to buy the whole thing. I'm like, the whole thing. And I'm like, even for me, I was like,
You were limiting, yeah.
yeah, yeah, because I was looking at, you can buy one house, one of these. And he's like, yeah, I want to buy the whole thing. And I was like, the I was like almost like taken by surprise. I was like, the whole thing. And then like I caught myself. I said, that's a great goal. You should definitely do that. But I could have been like, nah, like the whole thing, like that's a lot. That's a lot of money. Like, but we know that everything's possible.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're right. The kids, they have they don't have this feeling of limit.
Yeah, yeah.
They see the possibility to do big things, and
Mhm.
they have no cap if we don't like
If you don't put that
impose it
cap,
on them.
yeah, yeah. If you don't put that cap,
Exactly.
anything is possible, and you'll see that. And so that's what I love, that what you're doing with your family. It's a family thing,
For sure.
um, and you guys, this is it's like it's. I think a lot of people can take from it and be inspired from it. Um, I wanted to talk a lot about family.
Hmm.
What is, and this is maybe a weird question, but what's a challenge of, you know, doing something with your significant other, and how do you overcome it for someone that,
That's a good
yeah, I'm gonna do
question.
this is what I'm gonna do, you know what I
Yeah,
mean, we're
yeah.
gonna do it, honey, and then like, nah, I'm gonna do that, you know what I mean, so like, and because the reason I asked that, mcdonald's
That's a
act
great question.
the McDonald's model is that they rather give a franchise to a couple
Hmm.
than an individual person. And the
Hmm.
reason is because two heads are better than one,
Yeah.
right? So if you have two people buy into like a franchise, a McDonald's franchise, they've already statistically proven that they're going to be more successful than the person that just bought it by themselves.
Hmm.
But there has to be some challenges, or there's some maybe like I guess like different levels of expectations that you have to kind of work through at the beginning.
Yes.
And I'm sure that someone watching this right now, we got some a lot of people here,
Nice.
and we got the people make. And by the way, guys, if you want to ask your questions, you can put them there on the side there. But
That's a great
yeah.
question. I love this question.
Mhm.
And you know what? There's like the challenge come. There's a lot of challenges, but at the end of the day, you have to work on each of them and overcome them. I'd say the biggest challenge for me, and it could be different for anyone, is that um, at first, you know, you have to align the vision,
Mm.
because you have your way of thinking. Like when you meet someone and you decide that you're going to become a unit,
Yeah.
and then you're going to form a family, they have their own dreams. You have your own dreams. You're trying to put things together, and maybe someone feels like maybe they're settling, and they're gonna have to give away their dreams to be a part of this
Hmm.
union.
Hmm.
But this is in my opinion, a disaster, like a reason to fail, because if you have to give up on something that you love or you like to be able to be part of this, like you're not gonna feel fulfilled, right?
Yeah. Like
So
you're always gonna feel like like
man,
resentment.
yeah,
Yeah.
man, like I'm in this thing, but I could have, if I wasn't with this guy, I
Mm.
could have, or if I wasn't with this girl, like she's slowing me down, like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
So you have to get to a point where you have a common vision, and you're going in the right direction, and then one step after the other, like it's working. Because if you're going this way, the person going this way, at the end you're gonna see that you
Mm.
haven't moved.
Mm.
So the biggest challenge for me was to get to a point where we were like on board together, and then we were moving forward together. And sometimes it takes time, and you have to be respectful and leave enough time for the other person to get on board. And then if they don't get on board, like it's a possibility, and then you have to accept that it's possible that it won't happen as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you
So
can't force.
yeah, you can't force it. Like, yeah, like let's do this. Let's do
Alfonso
it.
said if we invest together, we stay together.
Yeah, let's go, let's go, let's go. So for me, like that was definitely a challenge. Like we so and then like in a relationship, when you're at the beginning of it, you're learning about the person, and you're learning about yourself too.
Yeah.
So like you don't necessarily know what are they like. Maybe like they're a great partner, a great lover. Like you have a great chemistry, great conversations. But business is different.
Hmm.
You need to get like there's stuff that needs to get done.
Yeah.
So you have to bring skills into play. You have to bring responsibilities into play, and
Then
then
there's consequences.
there's consequences, good or bad, based
Yeah.
on the decisions that you take.
Yeah.
So when it's fun, but when it's not, like like, and then you have to be able to disconnect these things from the relationship,
Yeah.
because business is part of what we do. But like at the end of the day, like whether it is business or not, or real estate or not, we're like a married couple. We have kids, so we can't we can't let like an experience that happened in the business have an impact on our life
Yeah.
outside of business.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, at the beginning you have to like kind of gel and like understand, okay, she's really strong at this, but she's terrible at this thing, and it's fine because I'll take care of it.
Hmm.
Or we're both terrible at this thing, we need to find someone else that knows,
Yeah.
and then they're able to help with this because that's not what we do, or
Hmm.
that's not what we understand. So
Hmm.
like just like being really open to like
Mhm.
learning and growing, and not speeding things up. But it starts with the common vision.
Yeah.
Common vision. Together we're planning that we're gonna do this. We might not know how, but
Mhm.
like this is the goal. Let's figure it out together.
Mhm.
Like, okay, you do that, I do that. Let how like, and then we work on it. We work on it until it gets to what, like something that works for both of us.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we're all gonna benefit from it.
Mhm.
And then if it doesn't work, we're all gonna like feel the consequences of it not working out. So it has to be like the union. Like we have to work on it together,
Yeah.
and take full responsibility together of it of it.
I love it. It's called leadership,
Hmm.
right? Like you can't have an organization, you can't have people, you can't have tenants if people are not on board with the vision,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And even bringing it back to real estate, back in April, back in March of 2020,
Hmm.
we were scared. We didn't know what was going to happen, but we needed to bring people on board with our vision of we have to pay bills. We have to keep the boat moving forward,
Hmm.
and tenants need to know. Tenants were scared.
Yeah,
Tenants were scared. Employees were scared.
everyone
Everybody was
with
scared.
reason.
Yeah, and so it's when you can step up with your family and say, hey, this is the things that are happening, or this is where we want to go. What do you think? And everybody can contribute. Then the boat just keeps moving forward,
Hmm.
versus like everybody's kind of doing their thing because there's no leadership,
Yeah,
right?
no, for sure.
And so it's like you got to lead each other. So no, that's I think you know I didn't know what the conversation would go. I know I wanted to touch on family because I do respect that about you, but I think it went into like a really really nice place. What do you think?
Awesome.
Let me see. We got a lot of questions here. I can't see from here. Can you maybe
What's the best way to get involved and beginning journey investing through multi-unit real estate?
okay?
That's a great question.
So that my answer will always be the same.
Hmm.
You have to get educated,
I agree with that.
right? If you don't have the education, even if you have money, you can't make the moves because you don't
Exactly.
even know how to identify an opportunity if it hits you in the face,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And so
That's
first,
great.
get educated. Uh, you know, learn. You have to learn how to identify education. What's the next
Wait,
question?
wait, wait, wait. I wanna touch on that
Yeah.
too. I wanna touch on that too. So earlier we were just chatting about that too, and I said, when you decide that you want to be an investor, the first thing that you have to do is invest, and the first thing that you can invest in is yourself.
Yeah.
And the way that you invest in yourself is by getting the education that you're talking about,
Yeah.
so that you know what to do. You don't go hurt yourself because people want to go into multi-unit, but if you don't know what you're doing,
Mhm.
it's gonna like it's the real estate is gonna slap you in the face. And I know that because I didn't know what I was doing when I bought condos, but I thought I was a real estate investor.
Mhm.
But it kicked me like badly,
Mhm.
and I had to learn, and this is when I turned to education.
Yeah.
We have a great program. We jumped into it, and then we learned what we needed to learn to erase our mistakes
Yeah.
and to unlearn the things that we thought we learned, and then jump into something that made it so now we know what we know it for sure, and we know it works, we know how it works, we know why it works, and then nothing can get in the way of like what we're doing because like we have confidence, like,
Yeah.
and when you act with confidence, like you can do anything. But if you're always like
Hesitant. You'll never make a
hesitant because
move.
you're not sure,
Yeah.
like if is it the right thing and or not, like I there's opportunities that I don't pull the trigger on that now I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have done it. But why didn't I do it? I was too early in my learning,
Mhm.
and I didn't know for sure
Yeah.
that these were good moves.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a great
No, no,
question.
and I love that because people talk about get rich quick,
Hmm.
and the reason why people are attracted by get rich quick is because they want to skip the learning.
Yeah, yeah,
Everybody wants to skip the learning
crazy.
part and get right to the getting.
Yeah, yeah.
And so what happens is like someone has like an idea, they come to your house and sell you something, an idea, and people like,
They
oh,
fall
I can
for it.
do that, right? I
Hmm.
can I can do that's easy, right? I don't have to put in time and I can get this one thing. And that's why the well, quote unquote get rich scheme doesn't work because the person that is involved is not learning anything.
Yeah.
They're just they're 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 paying for a hope, a
Hmm.
wish that this is going to work out.
And that's why I said like you have to first invest in yourself.
Yeah.
Because like without it, it's just impossible to
Mhm.
do something. Like how are you gonna go buy like a multi-unit, be responsible for tenants, find property manager or manage property,
Mhm.
figure out the tax stuff, everything when you haven't like
Mhm.
there's like so many like places in that journey where you can get stuck.
Yeah.
And if you don't have like someone or a team or a network of people that know what they're doing that you can bounce ideas with, like I call you all the time with questions. I'm like, yeah, like and I know what I know, but like there's still things that
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And it's
So
important. And this is one thing. Don't be shy to ask someone that knows.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Like
That's
like
this is like
that's what mentorship is
yeah,
the transfer of experience.
exactly.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like I'm sure there's people that ask you questions
Oh yeah, all
and
the
you're
time,
transferring your
all the
experience. You know
time,
what I mean?
all the time.
And so like yeah, the education piece is important. Roosevelt says great convo, and it is. I think it
Yes,
is a
cool.
great
Thank you.
convo. And what was the other one? Any suggestions on workshops locally? Yeah. So unfortunately, the workshop space because of COVID, it's been hit. You know what I mean? Like I
Hmm.
mean, I would be right now. I'd be somewhere doing a workshop, but we do have mentoring, we do have coaching. I suggest that you look in the space, whoever you resonate with, reach out. Or if you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me. That's no problem. And what was the other one?
People invest in you as opposed to the property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you get educated, now you bring value,
Yeah.
right? And so when people are going to be, if you're going to be doing, if you're going to be raising money, they're not looking at the property. They're looking at the individual and what is your level of real estate IQ.
Exactly.
And that's what ultimately makes the difference, and that's what makes people trust.
Yeah,
Right.
like for real, like if someone like has a good deal in their hands, the numbers work, cash flow is good, vacancy is great, cash on cash is great, all these things are great. But then the person that buys it doesn't know what they're doing. They can mess it up badly. Like
Yeah.
this deal is not going
Yeah.
to work, and it's not because the deal was not good. It's because the person that's doing it doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So really, really, really smart comment about people invest in you, not the property. Because at the end of the day, like someone needs to we're talking about basketball
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like like someone has to run the play.
Yeah.
Someone has to run the play, and like is this person has to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like what do you think gonna
You're
happen?
not gonna get the ball.
Exactly.
You're not gonna it's gonna be the one guy in the corner. No one's gonna
What
get
do you think gonna
the.
happen?
No, but what I always tell people is like, yeah, this thing in real estate about OPM, other people's money. It sounds nice,
It sounds great.
but nobody talks about LOPM, losing other people's money.
That sounds terrible.
Right? Yeah, but if someone is just playing
Yeah.
and hasn't invested in themselves or just playing real estate, um, they're taking chances with somebody else's money,
Which is crazy.
Yeah,
Which is crazy. Like just to touch on that quickly, like the way I go about it now is that I don't want to lose my money.
Mhm.
I don't want to lose other people's money. And then like your reputation,
Yeah.
like is like really
Only
like,
once.
like your name, your reputation, like it takes like almost nothing
Mhm.
to ruin it.
Mhm.
So like before, like a warning, I guess, for people that they just they hear about OPM and then they just start talking about, oh, I'm gonna do my first deal. I have no education. I'm gonna go get money from someone else. Don't do it. Don't do it. Learn first,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
consider it.
Yeah.
And a good way to do it too is invest some of your funds with someone that knows what they're doing, and then use that as a way to learn.
Yeah.
So that you can learn while like
Yeah.
you can almost get paid to learn because
Yeah.
you're getting some money learning, but then at the same time, this way you get a little bit of education at the same time, which you can potentially use to level up and do something else down the road.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, yeah.
James says, well said.
Nice.
Any suggestions on workshop? No, we covered that.
Mhm.
What is the best way to get involved on a journey of
There's that
investing?
one at the top.
Oh yeah, the one at the
About
top. So when you're buying $5 to $10 million, who's the first lenders you call? Yeah. So again, depending on your level of education,
yeah.
right? I mean, most people would go to the bank, and if it's a $10 million deal, that I mean, I'm not really going to go to the bank. And so, to give you a little bit of insight, I'm going to go to CMHC for as a lender. But I mean, we can spend a whole
Yeah.
evening talking about that. But if you don't have education, you're not even going to know which lender or what the questions you should ask and what's the interest rate and how that works. So I'll bring that question back to education. Guys, make sure to give us thumbs up here. I think this is a really I called the
Love
video
it.
a chat with Steven, and it was like a fireside chat here.
Yeah.
There was really no mandate. We didn't really. We're like, what are we gonna talk about? And it was like, okay, we'll talk about business and family somehow.
Yeah.
But I did want to touch on family, and I like the way the conversation kind of formed into that. And I think we came to like some really you came to some really good points about family. And I think anybody that watches this, you're gonna get a lot of value. And if
Mhm.
if you're watching it live, thank you. We really appreciate it. Go follow Steven Leconte on Instagram. What's the Instagram handle?
Steven Leconte.
Yeah,
That's
it's
it.
spelt in the top here at the video. If you're watching this in the future, if someone's shared this with you, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell to get notified the next time I'm doing a video. What? And there's another beautiful conversation. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, this is what we're doing. We just want to share our experience, give value, right? Give value to people. Uh, and so hopefully you can now go and give value to somebody else, guys. This was amazing. Alfonso loves you, and we'll see you at the top. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And let me press end.
That was cool.